Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. The strongest man in the world is he who stands most alone. Henry Gibson. History has always had a problem with men who refuse to kneel, those who walk their own path, indifferent to power, status, or the approval of the masses. You won't find their names carved into history books, but you'll see their influence in every era. They were the lone warriors who refused the crown, the wandering philosophers who outthought kings, the silent masterminds who built empires but never ruled them. Today they exist as Sigma males, enigmatic, untamed, and completely unfazed by the world's obsession with hierarchy. Here's a fact. Throughout history, the men who changed the world the most weren't always the ones in the spotlight. The architects of revolutions, the thinkers behind major shifts, the self-sufficient strategists, they all operated in the shadows, blending the wisdom of the ancients with the adaptability of the modern age. And what's truly unsettling, these men don't just survive in any era, they thrive. So why is a Sigma male both ancient and modern? Because he is a paradox, a ghost of the past who can outmaneuver the present, a man who belongs everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And if that sounds like the setup to a secret society or a conspiracy thriller, well, let's just say the truth is far more interesting. And number one, they are the unwritten pages of history. History is a liar. It glorifies kings, conquerors, and men who craved the spotlight, but it conveniently ignores the ones who moved in silence, the ones who shaped events without needing applause. Sigma males are those men. They don't need their names etched into history books, because they were too busy influencing the course of history itself. While the world was watching the emperors and warlords, these men were the strategists, the thinkers, the architects of change who never stepped forward to claim credit. They didn't need statues or titles. They were the shadows behind every major shift, the minds that built legacies but had no interest in owning them. The reason Sigma males are so timeless is that they have never been tied to any era's definition of success. Some were the mysterious advisors who whispered in the ears of rulers, while others built wealth and power without ever stepping into the limelight. They have always existed outside the system, using it when necessary but never belonging to it. Their strength comes from their ability to detach, to remain untouchable, to influence without being seen. This is why they are nowhere in history, but everywhere in reality. A Sigma male's legacy isn't written in books. It's in the things people assume just happened on their own, the decisions attributed to someone else, the revolutions that seemed leaderless but were anything but. The world only remembers the faces that stood in front of the crowd, but the true masterminds? They were always standing in the back, quietly pulling the strings, then walking away before anyone could notice. That's the difference between a man who wants recognition and a man who actually holds power. Number two, they are the last true rebels in a world that pretends to love individuality. Society loves to preach about individuality, but only when it fits inside a neat little box. It tells people to be themselves, as long as that self can be sold, branded, or turned into content. Sigma males don't fall for that illusion. They don't play by the rules of social approval, trends, or group identity. Their independence isn't a fashion statement, it's an unshakable core trait. They don't need validation movements or online crusades to justify their way of life. They simply live it, and that makes them both a relic of the past and a threat to the present. Ancient warriors who refused to pledge loyalty to a king were labeled outcasts. Modern Sigma males who refuse to bow to corporate culture, social expectations, or herd mentality are called loners or different. But the truth is they are the last true rebels, the kind that don't need an audience to feel free. They don't rebel for attention, for a following, or to start a trend. They do it because conformity feels like suffocation. And the moment the world starts telling them how to live, they walk in the opposite direction. In a time where even rebellion has been turned into a product, Sigma males are the only ones who can't be bought, swayed, or categorized. They move through the world like ghosts, untouchable, unpredictable, and completely uninterested in being understood. That's what makes them ancient warriors, the kind who lived and died by their own code. And that's what makes them modern outcasts, because nothing unsettles a world obsessed with labels more than a man who refuses to wear one. Number three, their code of honor is older than civilization itself. Long before civilization, before kings, before the idea of social hierarchy was even a thing, Survival depended on a different kind of law, one that wasn't written but lived. Men operated by an unspoken warrior code, self-reliance, loyalty only to those who earned it, and a complete disregard for status or empty titles. There were no bureaucracies, no corporate ladders, no carefully curated reputations, just raw instinct and the ability to stand on your own. Sigma males still follow that ancient code, which is why they seem both ahead of their time and completely out of place in modern society. In a world that runs on networking, manipulation, and fake alliances, Sigma males remain immune to the games everyone else plays. They don't climb ladders because they don't see the point of being part of a system they don't respect. They don't chase approval because to them recognition means nothing unless it comes from someone who truly understands their value. Their loyalty is rare, and once given, it's unbreakable, but it's never handed out freely. If a Sigma male stands beside you, it's not because of social obligation. It's because you've proven yourself worthy. This is why they don't fit into modern politics, corporate games, or status-driven social circles. The entire structure of today's world is built on illusion, on making people believe that power comes from positions, wealth, or influence. But Sigma males know better. They understand that true power is internal, that leadership isn't about authority, but about action, and that a man who can walk alone is stronger than an army that needs orders to move. The world may have changed, but the Sigma male's code hasn't. It never needed to. Number 4, they are the only men who are truly free, and that terrifies people. Every man you see in power, whether it's a king, a CEO, a celebrity, or a so-called influencer, has a master. They might wear the crown, sit in the boardroom, or have millions of followers, but make no mistake, they all answer to something. A Sigma male doesn't. That's what sets him apart. That's also what makes people either fascinated by him or deeply uncomfortable. True freedom is rare because most people don't actually want it. They think they do, but in reality they trade their independence for security, validation, or power wrapped in golden chains. Even the most powerful men are bound by obligations to investors, to audiences, to reputations they have to protect. A Sigma male, he owes nothing to anyone. He moves as he pleases, unattached to approval, unbothered by expectations, and uninterested in control. This level of autonomy is both mesmerizing and unsettling. People respect it, envy it, and in some cases resent it. Society likes men it can categorize, men it can predict and influence. But a Sigma male operates outside the system, making choices based on his own internal compass rather than external pressure. He's unpredictable, untouchable, and worst of all, completely indifferent to the things that control most people. That's why he terrifies those who rely on power structures to maintain control. You can't bribe him with status, manipulate him with fear, or trap him with expectations. He exists entirely on his own terms, and that level of self-sufficiency is something the world rarely sees. Most people either want to be him or want to break him because deep down they know he's the only man who is truly free. Number 5. They are the embodiment of evolution's most ruthless survivor. Survival has never been about strength alone. It's about adaptability, about knowing when to fight, when to vanish, and when to let the world destroy itself while you stand untouched. Sigma males are the embodiment of evolution's most ruthless survivors. They are neither the hunted nor the predictable hunters. They don't move in packs, don't rely on alliances, and don't fight wars that don't serve them. In ancient times, they would have been the lone warriors who didn't pledge loyalty to a king or a tribe, the cunning strategists who didn't chase glory, but always outlived those who did. While other men throw themselves into the chaos of power struggles, Sigma males watch from the edges, assessing, waiting. They don't need dominance to survive. They need control over themselves. That's what makes them different. They understand that brute force is nothing without intelligence, and intelligence is nothing without adaptability. When a system collapses, they don't go down with it. When a new order rises, they don't rush to serve it. They simply adjust, shift, and keep moving, untouched by the destruction around them. This ability to adapt without attachment is what makes them dangerous to those who rely on predictability. You can't corner a man who refuses to stay in one place. You can't control someone who values freedom over power. Sigma males don't fight for kingdoms or reputations. They fight for their own survival, and they always win because they play a different game entirely. In a world where everyone is busy proving themselves, they remain the last ones standing, not because they conquered, but because they never let themselves be conquered in the first place. Number 6, their thinking is an unfinished puzzle, too advanced for the past, too uncompromising for the present. Some men think in straight lines, predictable, structured, easy to follow. Sigma males think in a way that feels more like an unfinished puzzle, complex, layered, always evolving. In the past, they would have been seen as mystics, heretics, or lone philosophers who refused to accept the world at face value. Today, they're called antisocial, mysterious, or hard to read. But the truth is simpler. Their minds are wired differently. They see patterns others miss, question things most accept, and think in ways that don't conform to any era's expectations. Ancient societies didn't know what to do with men like this. A warrior who didn't seek power, a thinker who didn't crave followers. They were unsettling. Some were exiled, some were revered, but none were ever fully understood. Fast forward to today, and not much has changed. The modern world demands that people fit into neat categories: alpha, beta, leader, follower, but a Sigma male refuses to be boxed in. His thoughts are too advanced for the past and too uncompromising for the present, making him a constant enigma in any era. People either admire or misunderstand this kind of mind. To those who see only the surface, Sigma males seem distant, unpredictable, even disconnected. But to those sharp enough to recognize true intelligence, they are the rare few who think beyond the present moment, beyond social norms, beyond the limits most people unconsciously accept. They don't just challenge the status quo, they exist outside of it, observing, strategizing, and moving in ways no one expects. And that's what makes them timeless, not tied to any one period, but always standing apart from whatever world they find themselves in. Number 7, they don't believe in the good old days or a better future, only in mastering the present. Most people are stuck in either the past or the future, longing for a world that no longer exists or chasing a fantasy that never will. Sigma males don't have time for either. They see nostalgia for what it really is, a selective memory that romanticizes what was never as good as people claim. And they recognize idealism as just another form of delusion, a way for people to avoid dealing with reality. Sigma males operate differently. They don't waste energy longing for the good old days or hoping for some perfect future. Their only focus is on mastering the present because that's the only thing they can control. This mindset is why they thrive in any era. While others cling to outdated traditions or get lost in unrealistic dreams, Sigma males adapt. They study the world as it is, not as they wish it to be. They understand that every time period has its own set of illusions, whether it's the past being glorified or the future being worshipped. They don't fall for either trap. Instead, they navigate the present with precision, making moves that keep them ahead while everyone else is either looking back or waiting for something better. This is why they always seem detached from mainstream thinking. They don't complain about how things used to be, nor do they blindly hope things will get better. They accept reality, adjust, and position themselves for success regardless of the circumstances. Their strength comes from this unshakable presence in the now, where power, freedom, and real influence actually exist. While others are stuck in timelines that don't serve them, Sigma males are busy mastering the only one that matters. Number 8, they are the unspoken link between ancient warriors and modern strategists. Throughout history, there have been two types of powerful men: the warriors who conquered through brute force, and the strategists who shaped the world with their minds. Sigma males are the rare bridge between the two. If you took the cunning of an ancient general, the ruthless survival instincts of a lone warrior, and the forward-thinking adaptability of a modern tech genius, you'd get a Sigma male. They are wired to navigate both chaos and logic, blending raw instinct with calculated precision in a way that few can even comprehend. Ancient warriors thrived on strength and fearlessness, but they often lacked the ability to think beyond immediate survival. Modern strategists, while intelligent, are often too dependent on systems, corporations, or social structures to truly be independent. A Sigma male takes the best of both worlds. He has the instinct to survive without relying on anyone, but also the intellect to manipulate situations to his advantage without being trapped by them. He doesn't charge into battle mindlessly, nor does he sit back and theorize endlessly. He moves with purpose, striking only when necessary, disappearing when it serves him, and always staying 10 steps ahead. This combination of primal and intellectual dominance is rare, and it's why Sigma males are often underestimated. They don't flaunt their power like an alpha, nor do they submit like a beta. They observe, adapt, and execute in ways that are so fluid, most people don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. They are the evolution of both warrior and thinker, men who don't just survive history but rewrite it on their own terms. Number 9, they are the ghosts of ancient kings who never wanted the throne. History glorifies the kings who sat on thrones, the warlords who built empires, and the rulers who bent nations to their will. But what about the men who could have ruled and simply walked away? The ones who saw power not as a prize but as a burden. Those men didn't vanish. They became the blueprint for what we now call Sigma males. A Sigma male has all the qualities of a leader: intelligence, vision, strategy. But unlike those who crave control, he sees the hidden cost of power. Ruling means obligations, constant scrutiny, and an endless battle to maintain what you've built. Most men want the throne because they think it brings freedom, but a Sigma male knows better. A king is still a prisoner, bound by politics, expectations, and the never-ending need to prove himself. That's why he walks away, not out of weakness, but because he values something far greater than power, his autonomy. This is what makes Sigma males both legendary and invisible. They don't seek recognition, yet they leave an undeniable mark wherever they go. They don't chase authority, yet they influence without effort. They are the men history forgets, not because they weren't great, but because they refused to let greatness cage them. They were never the ones fighting for the throne. They were the ones watching from the shadows, knowing that true power isn't in ruling others, but in never being ruled at all. Number 10, they carry the wisdom of old philosophers and the mindset of future leaders. Sigma males are like the perfect blend of old school wisdom and cutting-edge innovation. They carry the quiet, deep thinking of ancient philosophers like Socrates, who questioned everything and looked for truth in places others feared to tread. But unlike the philosophers of their time, they don't just sit in ivory towers contemplating ideas. They take that wisdom and apply it in ways that feel more like the mindset of a future leader. Think Socrates, but moving with the ambition and boldness of someone like Elon Musk, constantly pushing boundaries and making things happen. Their intelligence isn't limited to reflection alone. They don't just sit around pondering the meaning of life. They also understand how to turn those thoughts into something tangible. They know that true wisdom isn't just about knowing, it's about doing. So while they might spend hours reflecting on the nature of the world and the universe, they're also actively working on reshaping their piece of it, just like future-forward visionaries do. This makes them a unique paradox, rooted in the past but always moving forward. This combination of reflective intelligence and action is why Sigma males don't fit into any one time period. In a world that demands either deep thinkers or doers, they are both. They take what's worked throughout history, integrate it with what's happening now, and push forward in ways that most people never even consider. It's this duality that makes them so exceptional. They don't just ask what could be, like philosophers, or what's next, like futurists. They ask what should be and how can I make it happen. That's why they stand out, no matter the era. In the end, Sigma males are a rare and captivating anomaly, a fusion of ancient wisdom and modern ingenuity that refuses to be confined by the limitations of time. They're not interested in the illusions of power or recognition. They're focused on mastering their own lives and carving a path that's uniquely their own. Whether they're operating as silent warriors of the past or as forward-thinking strategists of the future, one thing remains undeniable: they are forces of nature who will never fit into the molds that society has created. Instead, they shape the world around them on their own terms, making them not only the most misunderstood but also the most formidable. Their journey is one of quiet rebellion, fierce independence, and relentless evolution. Never looking back, always moving forward, and forever leaving their mark on whatever era they find themselves in. If you've been captivated by the timeless power and unmatched independence of Sigma males, then you're exactly where you need to be. Don't let the world's limits define your path. Embrace the mindset of those who've always shaped their own destinies. If you want to explore more of what makes these extraordinary individuals tick, dive deeper into their world, and unlock even more secrets to mastering your own journey. Make sure to subscribe. This is where real unapologetic freedom begins, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe now and join the movement, where we don't follow the crowd, we lead the way. Bye for now and see you in the next video.